It's the start to a brand new season of personal watercraft racing as the riders of the HydroTurf APBA National Watercross Tour kick things off along the Colorado River in Parker, Arizona.
As long as I get a smile on my face and come home with a podium finish, then I'm happy.
In the GP ski class, the premier stand-up ski division, a pair of former world champions in Chris McCluggage and Craig Warner are set to renew their rivalry, while a pair of former junior ski champions in Jake Zier and Kiefer King look to make their mark.
It's fun to go out there and just race against Chris McCluggage and Craig Warner, two people that have been on factory teams, and we're just privateers who come out here and just ride what we got.
It's very nice to race against all the other pros that have been in it for a while, like McCluggage and Warner and a couple others. I just want to go out there and ride a good race.
In pro runabout stock, reigning world champion Timothy Neff looks to keep the ball rolling as he is set to take on perennial favorite and 13-time overall world champion Chris McCluggage, along with rookie hopeful Dustin Cherrier.
I kind of do feel like I've got a bullseye on my back, but yeah, I'm going to work hard at it. I mean, I definitely am, want to win that world championship again.
And then in the biggest and fastest of all the personal watercraft classes, Pro Runabout Open, two-time former world champion Craig Warner looks to put the memories of last year's World Finals disappointment in his rearview mirror and start things off on a positive note.
Unfortunately, we had just a freak problem with the mechanics of the motor, and it was nothing to do with Kawasaki, nothing to do with Monster, nothing to do with me. It was just one of those things.
So the stage is set. It's time now for the season opener. It's round number 1 of the HydroTurf APBA National Watercross Tour right here from Parker, Arizona. Parker, Arizona, it's time now for the personal watercraft season opener. It's round 1 of the HydroTurf APBA National Watercross Tour. Hello everyone and welcome to the season opening race along the Colorado River. Thanks for joining us. I'm Ian Howard. Well, the long off-season has drawn to a close, and now it's time to see who has been doing their off-season training not only mechanically but physically, as this will be the first of 12 rounds of racing on the tour, as I'll be joined by my broadcast partner Dave Arnold here momentarily. And here's the racing format, 2 motos per class. The combined results determines the overall winner, and in case of a tie, the tiebreaker goes to the rider with the best Moto2 finish. And we'll kick off the 2010 race season with highlights from Moto 1 of GP Ski, as a pair of former world champions in Chris McCluggage and Craig Warner would lead the field. And early on, it would be the pair of former world champions who would run 1 and 2 right off the start, as Chris McCluggage would record the whole shot. But it would be short-lived, as Big Mac would be forced off the race course with mechanical problems, and then Craig Warner would get lost on the race course. Chris Lawrence, who had never before led a GP ski race, would then find himself up front. Later on in Moto 1, the lead would change hands once again, as Jake the Snake Zier from Noblesville, Indiana, would get past Chris Lawrence. And Jake Zier would then hold off the rest of the field to record his first ever GP ski moto win. So with Zier, Lawrence, and Zernick, your top 3 finishers for Moto number 1. Time now for Moto number 2 for GP Ski. Jake Zier starting from the inside after a very surprising opening Moto win, Dave. The question is, can he make it 2 wins in a row and take the overall for Moto number 1? Again, making his debut with Kiefer King out here. And if you would have asked anybody coming into this race who would be the odds-on favorite, of course they would say either Chris McCluggage or Craig Warner, a pair of former world champions. But Dave, talk about GP Ski, biggest and fastest class competing in the ski divisions out here this weekend.
Well, first of all, I've seen these 2 young riders since the junior divisions, to seeing them now running with the big boys up there, that's for sure. McCluggage and Warner, definitely a favorite, but Zier doing a great job. And of course, with these GP skis, this is the engine builders class. We'll see a lot of different combinations. I've seen CDO motors put into the Kawasaki holes. It's pretty much up to 1,000 cc's. Anything goes with these machines. A lot of different combinations. And the whole thing is just dialing in the pump setup with the motor combination. And man, we see some great speeds out of this. It's great. We're going to see a lot of aftermarket manufacturers coming back into the picture because of this class.
And earlier, Stephen LePron filled us in on his GP ski.
This is just a open boat, 850, tiny stroke on it, nothing too crazy, and it's a good running ski. I mean, everyone has all these triples and stuff, and all this boost on stuff, and it's right there next to them, so I mean, that one's 91 pump gas. I mean, everyone's running all these high octane, a lot of compression. It's all stock compression, 91, so it should be good.
And Chris McCluggage has been forced out for the second consecutive moto as he pulls off the race course, so lots of frustration for Big Mac, and taking full advantage is Chris Lawrence, and we'll be right back with Lawrence, the new leader, here from Parker, Arizona. Coverage of the APBA National Watercross Tour has been made possible by HydroTurf, by Sea-Doo, by Monster Energy Drinks, by Mystic Lubricants, and by Yamaha. Welcome back to Parker, Arizona, and coverage of the HydroTurf APBA National Watercross Tour. Beautiful sunny skies out here, as well as a nice crowd. And before we return to more of Moto number 2 for GP Ski, let's find out what's new and hot in the world of personal watercraft racing with this Jet Tribe product showcase.
Yeah, it was real flexible. As a stand-up rider, a lot of the gear that you wear is more sorted towards runabout guys. And the gear I was able to move, and it didn't feel like I had a wetsuit on. Usually it's crouched over, it feels like it pulls you down, but the gear felt really light, like riding in shorts, which I really like. So for spring and fall seasons, I think it's a great suit. Yeah, the pullover vest was great. It stays real tight after you've been in the water instead of absorbing, so it doesn't push your arms out. I really enjoyed the way the vest handled it, kept my arms free. Yeah, no, the gloves are nice. I like how the palm is made of a different material. It's a little more sticky than the standard neoprene you usually find in watercraft.
As we come back to a great battle up front, and Dave, surprises early on. First off, Chris McCluggage, as we reset the running order for you, forced out for the second time with mechanical issues, and now Jake the Snake Zier takes over the lead from Chris Lawrence along the back straightaway. So Jake Zier, no stopping this young man from Noblesville, Indiana. He's looking to go 1-1 in his 2 sets of motos out here today.
Well, not surprisingly, I know he's going to be a force to be reckoned with over the next couple of years for sure. Still very young out there, but he's really cut his teeth moving up through the junior program. It's really great seeing these guys. They're, I should say young men, they're able to start so early and hone their skills to get out here with these big boys. And hey, having Chris Lawrence back, the Bulldog, great to see him back out there. Been retired, he's got his family going on, and a new little one, I believe, just came recently, and just great to have him. But Jake Zier running great. Back on board, though, we can see with Stephen LePron. So that is the Bulldog down there, again, the 151 machine.
Yeah, Chris Lawrence taking a water sample as we swing our camera back over to see Chris Lawrence get back upright. So he's back in the race. So a tough break for Lawrence, but it looks like he's just physically wearing down as this race wears on. Again, opening round of race action, and Jake Zier talked to us earlier about making his GP Ski pro debut.
It's fun to go out there and just race against Chris McCluggage and Craig Warner, 2 people that have been on factory teams, and we're just privateers that come out here and just ride what we got and work on all night. And they got full-time mechanics and we don't. It feels pretty good to go out there and race against them.
So nice to hear from Jake the Snake Zier, and it looks like Stephen LePron gets separated from his ride as he goes in the water.
But this real story right now is Jake the Snake Zier. Well, with 1 lap to go, it looks like he's pretty much in the command position right now, but I can tell you, I can see back here in the back of the pack, Kiefer King trying to do everything he can to catch up to him. But Jake is just on fire. Every turn is very fluid. He's on the money right now, and that's what it's about. I do believe he's looking at an overall.
And Dave, earlier you were talking about the specs in this GP Ski class, only in its 3rd season, and basically replaced Pro Ski Open. A different version of this class, but this one allows for more aftermarket parts. And talk about the strengths of this class, because it really began in Europe some years ago.
Well, one of the reasons they got together, it's going to allow a lot of these aftermarket manufacturers to maybe make some parts to make up these combinations with these GP Ski. That's been lacking with some of the classes that we've had in the past. They were limited on what they could do. They couldn't run a lot of the stroke motors. They couldn't do a lot of stuff like that. So now it just opens the door up to be a little bit more creative.
And how about that? Jake Zier, after a poor start back in Moto 1 when he checked out 5th, able to come back, record the Moto win, and then not a particularly great start here in Moto number 2, and he's able to come back after Chris McCluggage broke down. And there's a look at all your overall results here for round number 1.
Well, this gives me a ton of confidence. I'm set, I'm ready, I'm physically in shape, I'm ready to go out there and do it again. I think Fly Racing, Walk On, DZ Racing, All Out Performance, and Waltz Motorsports.
And with the rookie Jake Zier surprising everyone in GP Ski by winning the overall in round number 1, another